Hey guys, welcome to my second video here. We're going to be talking about reflections based off of this NAEP item here that is a reflection question. You know, what's the result of flipping this triangle over the line? So take something kind of basic and simple like this, but show you how I use Geogebra in my reflection talk with my students, how pictures are super powerful for us to learn geometry. Okay, so we're going to make a little app here together that takes a picture and then we'll just do some reflection conversation with it and show you some pretty cool features. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is grab a picture, like a reflection picture. So I just googled reflection and you know I want to pick one. Actually, I like this one's kind of cool. So nice. I'm gonna save this file somewhere, maybe on my desktop. So I showed you last video, I showed you how to insert a picture in Geogebra, but I found an even easier way. So what we need to do, there's my son. What we need to do is grab the picture file, so you could have another window open and find your picture file, and then just drag it right into Geogebra. That's much easier than using the insert image tool. Okay, so then you need these 2 points down in the corner, which that'll always happen when you do this, when you just drag a picture, and you'll get these 2 points because they allow us to change the size of our picture. So we can make it as big as we want it to. Okay, nice reflection picture here. One thing that I like to do, we're going to put lines and points and stuff on top of this picture, so a good thing to do is set your picture and fix it. So if you right click your picture, you can fix object, which just means it's not going to move around when we click on stuff. Also, you can right click the picture and you can go to object properties, and you can make this a background image, so everything, all the points will stay on top of our picture. Okay, you can also go to color with pictures. This is kind of a nice feature too. Sometimes pictures, the colors and things kind of get they're too bold and we can't see our points and angle measures and things very well, so I will change the opacity too. So in the color tab, when you have a picture, you could change it, make it a little fainter, but what's nice is you can still see the picture, and now your points and things will stand out better. So maybe right now, just kind of playing around, I'm going to just leave it at 100, but just showing you that feature. Okay, so now since this is a reflection, so the properties that I want my students to get about reflections is that when you reflect a point over a line, its reflection is equidistant from the line of reflection, and also it's at a perpendicular relationship to the line of reflection. So what I always ask my students, do you see a line of reflection where the reflection's happening? And they'll say yeah, and then you can put your line where they're talking here. So here's our line of reflection, and even if we're off here, we can move our line around just by moving these 2 points around. Okay, and I always like to use color. Maybe I'll make it stand out here. There we go. I like that color. Okay, so now what we can do is grab a point. So grab your new point tool, and I'm going to put a point on this flower here and talk about, pick one that the kids can see the reflection point as well. So for example, maybe this point right here and this point right here. So what we could do is have the kids look at the reflection point, or we can actually construct it. So I'm actually going to undo that second point there. You can just undo with Control Z, or you get your undo redo buttons up here. So I'm just going to take this. If this is a reflection, then I can just reflect this point over this line, and its reflection point should end up where we see it right here. Okay, so this toolbox is called the transformation toolbox. So if you hit the little red arrow, it'll give us some more transformation tools, and I use the reflect object about line tool. So when you use this, all you have to do is click on the object that you want to reflect. So I'm going to click on this point E, and then you click on the line that you want to reflect over. So I just clicked on that line of reflection, and we can see its reflection point. So maybe I'll make these points stand out. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. There we go. So now, when we move the pre-image point, the point that we reflected, its reflection will actually stay with the point. So that's pretty cool. And you can kind of trace out, how did we do getting our line of reflection? It looks like we're off a little bit. We can change our line around and see, hey, that looks pretty good now, right? So we could see with the reflection tool, we have the reflected point. Another really cool feature is the trace feature. So what you can do is, I'm going to click on both my points here. I'm going to hold Control down and select both points. You can right click one of them and go to trace on. So everywhere the points go, then it leaves a little trace mark. So you could kind of, you know, trace out your reflection. Okay, kids like to give them some time and let them just play with it. But what I like about this is you can talk about cases like, what if all of a sudden the point's on the other side, right? And it flips. What if the point's on the line of reflection? Where's its reflection point? So you could talk about cases of where the point is. Now what's kind of neat too is to see your symmetry that you're really creating here without the picture. So if you were to hide your picture right now, you would just right click it and you can go to Show Object. Make sure that it's just the picture that's selected. So I'm going to go to Graphics, Object Properties, and here's my picture. So what you could do is just these little green circles next to our objects are little hide show buttons. So anything showing, it has a green circle next to it. So if you want to hide something, you would just click on that circle and it's not hiding. Let's see here, maybe because I have it fixed. I want to hide this. Maybe I'll turn off my background. Sorry about that. Turn off the background image so that we can hide this picture. So now when we trace, we can take our point, and when we move this around, we can see this nice symmetry, right? So you can kind of have some fun with this. And then also what I do is make a segment. So if you want to start talking about the properties, we could talk about that equidistant concept. Right, so grab your segment tool and just click on your 2 points and make a segment, and then grab a new point and let's put a point right on the intersection. So I'm just going to hover right over the intersection and click on it. Points in Geogebra, it's important to know that whenever you have a free moving object like this point here, it's this blue color. Okay, when you put a point on a object like this line here, notice its color is different. It's like a purple color. So the purple color means that it's confined to an object, but you can still move it. So this point I just put on here will just stay on my line, where blue again is anywhere we want. And then when you have a fixed point like this intersection, there's only one intersection point, it'll create this kind of gray, this dark gray point here, so you know that you hit that fixed point exactly. So just pay attention to your colors of your points too to make sure that you're clicking on the right stuff. So now we can go to our measurement toolbox. By default it has an angle tool. So if we want to measure an angle to show perpendicular, and if you want to get rid of your trace too, you just go to View and Refresh View, or Control F. Okay, so with the angle tool, you have to click on 3 points. Like if I'm going to measure, say, this angle right here, I want to show that it's 90 degrees. Okay, then what you do is you have to click on 3 points. You have to click on a point that's on the side of the angle. The vertex is always the second point, and then the third point is the other side. And you click in a clockwise direction, so G, F, E, right? So clockwise, boom, 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 kind of like that. Okay, so now I just showed it's 90 degrees. Alright, and then we want to show the equidistant property. We can just go back to our measurement toolbox, click that little arrow there to get our distance or length tool. So this is a pretty cool tool. You can click on a segment and it'll just tell you the length of the segment, but you can also click on points and it'll tell you the distance between them. Okay, so now I'm just going to click here and here, and notice that the distances are always the same and always stays perpendicular. Okay, so if you want to get your picture back, you have to go back, right click the screen and go to Object Properties, and then you're going to grab your image and click that little circle there, okay, to get your picture back. I don't like doing that. I don't like going in that menu every time I want to get my picture back. So what you can use is this pretty cool little tool here. It's in this is a slider tool. I just call it the slider toolbox because there's just some random things in here. But there's a checkbox to show hide objects tool. So I'm going to grab that tool. I'm going to click somewhere where I want to put my little checkbox. And you can caption it, you can name it whatever you want. Maybe I'll say show pic. And then all you do is click on the object that you want to hide and show with this button. So I just clicked on my picture, make sure that it goes in this little box here, and click apply. So now, got my move tool, I can just hide and show my picture just by clicking that little checkbox. So that's pretty neat how you can do that. So just a cool way that now notice too, since my picture's not a background anymore, the trace is still on, but we can't see it, right? If I hide my picture, there's my trace, but the picture's on top of it. So this is where we can right click the picture, go to its properties. You could change its opacity, which is nice. So now we can kind of see. I'm going to hit Control F, that refreshes my view, and then our geometric properties are always happening here as we talk about our reflections. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Kind of see a cool feature about GeoGebra and the power of pictures.